The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this commentary belong solely to the author and do not necessarily represent the views of our company, management, staff, or our affiliates.
In my last commentary, I offered analysis that showed that, at this juncture, widely knocking around the term oil-rich Guyana can be misleading in context relating to recurrent expenditure on exponential growth of wages, more specifically teachers. Continuing from where we left off, the following is a comparative contextual view of Grenada's education sector budgetary allocations versus Guyana's. Guyana's education budget is 6 times the size of what obtains in Grenada, while Guyana's total number of teachers is 8 times Grenada's. Guyana's education budget represents 87% of Grenada's total national budget. Grenada has a total student population of 22,000, which would give rise to a student-teacher ratio of 12 to 1. Guyana has about 180,000 students, which would give rise to a ratio of 13 to 1. 79% of Grenada's education budget is allocated towards recurrent expenditure and 21% towards capital expenditure, whereas in Guyana, 67% of the education budget is allocated towards recurrent expenditure and 33% towards capital expenditure. And Guyana's budget for teachers' wages and salaries is US $192 million, which is 2.15 times the size of Grenada's entire budget for the education sector. Simply put, teachers in Grenada apparently earn a higher average salary than their Guyanese counterparts because the teaching service workforce population is 8 times smaller than Guyana, with a budget that is 6 times smaller than what obtains in Guyana. Most notably, the Grenadian government is not investing in the education sector as heavily as in the case of Guyana, as demonstrated by the allocation of resources towards capital expenditure. This means that perhaps there is not much new infrastructure needed in Grenada's education sector. Therefore, there is more financial resources allocated towards wages and salaries, with of course a much smaller workforce. In Guyana, the situation is the inverse, whereby significant investments are needed in the physical, social, human, and technological infrastructure for the sector. For the sake of argument, it is not only that the current proposal by the GTU would not be feasible and practicable, they should also consider that with the adjustment for anomalies and across-the-board increases over the period 2020 to 2023, there is a higher base salary to start from going forward. There are cases whereby some categories of teacher salaries were adjusted upwards on the highest end of the salary scale. Even if the government was to consider the backdated proposal to be prudent, the increases would have to be considered based on the old lower base salaries for that period. For example, the trainee teachers previously were earning a stipend of $12,000 monthly. That category of teachers is now earning $90,000 monthly owing to the upward adjustments by the government in 2022-2023. So if the GTU is adamant to consider from 2019 to 2023, the increases that the GTU is requesting would have to be applied to the old base, which was $12,000, which would have taken it up to $35,156 for the year 2023, based on the annual increases that the GTU has put forward. Clearly, this is much lower, 2.5 times lower than what this category of teachers are earning currently on account of the upward adjustments. Henceforth, it would be in the best interest for this category of teachers to consider increases from 2024 onwards through a multi-year agreement such that the benefits accrued therefrom would ultimately be greater than the GTU's original proposal. The leadership of the GTU is therefore urged to return to the negotiation table with the authorities in good faith, and like their Grenadian counterparts, opt for a multi-year agreement for the period 2024 to 2027 or 2024 to 2029, which the government of Guyana is more than willing to consider and honor.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this commentary belong solely to the author and do not necessarily represent the views of our company, management, staff, or our affiliates.